Good morning, Kurt. How are you?
I'm good, Dan. How are you?
Great. We're curious about the MVP vote. Do you have a vote?
I do not have a vote, no.
If you did, who's your MVP?
If I did, my MVP would be Matt Ryan. I just think he's been great this year on a team that doesn't have many ways to win. He's got to play well for them to win. I think he's played exceptional all year long. Derek Carr's probably my second-place guy, or Ezekiel Elliott. I know he's a rookie running back, and we don't give running backs as much love, but I don't believe Dallas is anywhere close to where they're at right now if that running game isn't going, and obviously Zeke leading the league in rushing.
If you needed a win and you can pick any quarterback in the postseason, who's your quarterback?
Brady. That's easy.
But he's not your MVP. Now, did the four games, does that hurt him?
That does in my mind.
Okay.
Just because knowing the quarterback position and understanding the MVP race, one bad game, one slip-up can cost you in that race. And so to take out a fourth of the season, although I will say I believe Tom's been the best player when he's been on the field for those 12 games. He's been the best player in the league. But it's just so hard for me because I just understand how this thing works. And, slip-ups at any point in time can cost you that award. So I got to lean towards a guy that played at an MVP-type level but played all 16 games over 12.
How do you explain what Aaron Rodgers does?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to explain. He's a guy. He's just so special when he ad-libs, and there's even times when I'm not even sure he really looks at the concept of a play. I think he just looks to ad-lib because he knows he's unbelievable and they're unbelievable when that happens. I think early in the year that hurt him. There was a lot of things happening within the framework and timing of the offense that he was missing early on. And now he's kind of got back to making more of those plays plus doing the extra. And when that happens with Aaron Rodgers, you see what we've seen is that it's incredible, it's special, and your team wins when that happens.
Whose skills would you want of all these quarterbacks?
Just physically, I don't know if we've seen a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers with what he can do physically, and I'm talking possibly ever. He is just so gifted, has such a great feel for that buying time and how to get open, and then he can throw from so many different places. And I know that, it's as a quarterback you understand that there's so much that goes into balance and using your hips and being accurate when your feet are in a lot of different positions. And if you watch Aaron, he's a guy who would never, tell a young quarterback, here's training tape, go watch Aaron Rodgers. You would never do that because he's all over the place. But he is so gifted with his arm, and he's got such great balance and with his hips and weight transfer with his hips that he makes throws. I mean, I watched tape just a couple weeks ago, and he's falling to his left and never really sets his feet and throws the ball 75 yards. I mean, I never threw 75 yards in my life. More or less when you're falling to your left, it's just incredible what he can do with the ball. So I would love that physical talent to go along with some of the things that I did.
He's Kurt Warner from the NFL Network. You can see Kurt NFL Game Day morning. They'll be on the air Saturday at noon Eastern, Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Why haven't we bought into Kansas City or Atlanta?
Well, I think with Kansas City, we're always going to point to the quarterback. And as great as Alex has been at winning games, and we know, bottom line is win games, and he's done it as well as anybody over the last few years. But the bottom line, I believe, at the quarterback is you want to see a guy that's willing to carry a team with his right arm. You believe that when it comes time, at some point, whether it's playing Brady or whatever, you have to win a game with your right arm. And I think we're all – and I'm one of those guys that I believe Alex can do it. I don't think there's any question he can make all the throws and the big throws. I question whether he's willing to do it, whether he's willing to take those chances and be the reason that they lose and also the reason that they win. And I think that's what holds us back is I don't know if he'll do that. I think he'll protect the ball and he won't make the mistakes, but will he be able to make those special plays in that special game to get them to the next level? And I think that's why we hesitate there. With Atlanta, I think we hesitate because it almost has to be a perfect world to believe that they're going to win numerous games in the playoffs. By that I mean playing inside, because Matt Ryan hasn't been characteristically in the past as good outside in weather. Their defense, you feel like there's a lot of teams that could put up 40 points against their defense. And so you're going to have to outscore them, which again falls to the quarterback being great every time out. And that to me is, I think, the worry with this team is they're really good and Matt's playing really well and they've got a lot of weapons, but you just feel like they're going to have to outscore everybody. And can they do that depending on, who ends up playing against them and where they have to go? Are they capable of doing that, every time out? I mean, the fortunate thing is they're only going to have 2 games to get to the Super Bowl, but it's just hard. A lot of times you got to win different ways in the playoffs, and I'm not sure you look at Atlanta and go, okay, they could win different kinds of games. The
last playoff defense you'd want to face is who?
Last playoff defense? That's a good question. I think all of them have some issues. I think Houston's defense is playing really well right now, but you don't worry about them as much because you don't think they're going to score any points on offense. Belichick always going to throw something different at you, so that to me is worrisome, and they stop you from scoring. So it's hard to just take one and take it away from the scenario. I like Kansas City's the way they turn the ball over. So you always feel as a quarterback, if you give me a couple turnovers, I'll win. But I'm probably just going to say New England, just because I look at the whole situation, just know the scheme is going to be different every time out, so you have to prepare differently. It's not like some teams where you say, okay, I know what they're going to do. I can figure out a way in a week to attack what they do as long as we don't make mistakes. But Belichick's going to throw different things at you, which to me makes it the most difficult.
Could you start for Oakland or Houston this weekend?
Could I?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, on paper I could.
If they had a bye, if I gave you 2 weeks to prepare.
Again, I have no idea. Physically, I feel great. On a board, I know what I'm doing. But it really comes down to the speed of the game, and can you slow things down where you can react like you want to react.
Would you give Houston a better chance?
I think there was probably some things that I could do to give them a better chance at the quarterback position. I don't know if it's everything right now because I haven't done it in a long time.
I'm trying to get you out of retirement, but you're up for the Hall of Fame. I'm just trying to add one more element where somebody goes, he's a lock for the Hall of Fame. Now look at what he did.
You told me, I'll never forget. You told me years ago, if I got Arizona to the Super Bowl, I was a lock Hall of Famer.
Yes.
So what else do I need to do? I'm just banking on what you told me, Dan, and I'm just going to sit back and rest on the laurels.
Well, see, the problem is I should have said win the Super Bowl. You just thought getting to the Super Bowl.
At that point in time, that was a miracle. Come on. That would have been a miracle.
How about you come back and play for the Browns?
Oh, jeez. No, thanks. No, thanks. But isn't it amazing that we got a playoff game? Our first playoff game is going to possibly be Connor Cook and then Brock Osweiler, who was benched a couple weeks ago by their team.
Crazy.
Unbelievable that's a playoff matchup.
Crazy. Hey, great to talk to you. Tell Rich and the boys we said hello, and we'll talk to you during the playoffs. Thank you.
Sounds great. All right, Dan.
That's Kurt Warner. I always ask him that question. I'll keep asking until he finally says, no, I wouldn't be better than Brock Osweiler. I wouldn't give them a better chance. If you gave him a month, he would be a better option.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.